Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast. We've got another deep dive today. Um, we love taking your research and like really digging into it.
Yeah.
And today's topic is something that I think is on a lot of people's minds right now. It's all about how gold IRAs can fit into, you know, a really rock solid plan for protecting your family's wealth.
Yeah. It's all about building a legacy that lasts. And that's something we are really passionate about helping people achieve.
Absolutely. And you know what's really cool about this deep dive is that you've actually been looking into gold IRAs specifically. And one of the things you're worried about, like a lot of people, is just what's going on in the markets, all the volatility, and of course, inflation. You know how inflation just eat away at your savings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a valid concern. And it's something that so many people, especially as they're approaching retirement, are grappling with. They've worked hard their whole lives. They want to make sure that their savings are safe, that they can provide for their families.
For years to come. It's that peace of mind. You want that peace of mind, knowing that what you've worked so hard for is going to hold its value, and better yet, can be passed down. And that's where I think things like gold and tangible assets start to look really appealing.
They do, and you're not alone. We've seen firsthand how gold IRAs have helped people just like you. Folks like John and Linda and James who wanted to protect their wealth, create a lasting legacy for their families.
And we're going to talk about some of those success stories a little bit later because I think they're really inspiring. Figuring this out, gold IRAs, I know it can seem kind of complicated, and we're going to break it all down for you today. But if you are looking for a really simple guide to get started, we do have a free checklist. You can grab it at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's packed with like everything you need to know, especially when you're trying to pick the right gold IRA company for your needs.
Yeah, it's a great resource to kind of get you started on the right foot.
So let's just start with the basics. What exactly is a gold IRA?
So think of it like a traditional IRA that you might already have, but instead of holding stocks and bonds, you're holding physical gold or other precious metals like silver, platinum, palladium. You're actually owning those assets, which I think, offers a sense of security that paper assets just can't really match.
I think that's a really good point. It's not like you're buying shares of, say, a gold mining company. You're holding the real deal. Now, I know there are different types of gold IRAs, traditional and Roth. Can you walk us through those?
Absolutely. So with a traditional gold IRA, you get a tax break up front because your contributions are actually tax deductible. However, when you take the money out during retirement, you'll pay taxes on those withdrawals.
So very similar to like a traditional 401k.
Exactly. Now, a Roth Gold IRA works kind of the opposite way. You pay taxes on your contributions when you put the money in, but then your withdrawals during retirement are completely tax-free.
So it's like choosing when to take the tax hit, which is a great option if you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket later in life, for sure.
Yeah, it's a really important point. And, the best choice, whether it's traditional or Roth, really depends on your unique financial situation and what you're hoping to achieve.
Makes sense. So let's say you've decided a gold IRA is the right move for you. How does this whole process actually work? Where do you even begin?
Okay, so that's where a gold IRA custodian comes in. And this is a specialized financial institution that helps you set up the account, helps you buy the gold, and most importantly, they store it securely in an IRS-approved depository.
Wait, so you can't just like keep a gold bar under your mattress?
I'm afraid not. The IRS has rules about where gold IRA assets can be stored. They need to be held by a qualified trustee.
Makes sense. So finding that reliable custodian is going to be key to this whole process.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about choosing a good provider a little bit later on. But first, let's get back to, I guess, what brought you here in the first place. Those concerns about market volatility and inflation.
Yes, let's talk about how gold IRAs can address those things. I know a lot of people are worried about their savings losing value because of inflation, or even worse, a sudden drop in the stock market.
Rightfully so. I mean, traditional investment strategies alone often just don't provide that level of security that people are looking for, particularly in these uncertain economic times. And that's where gold has historically proven its value as a safe haven.
Okay, so let's break it down. How does gold act as a hedge against inflation?
Well, unlike paper currency, which can be affected by, government policies and lose value, gold has intrinsic value. It's a finite resource, and it has, long history of holding its worth.
So as the cost of living goes up, the value of your gold tends to rise too, helping you, I guess, maintain your purchasing power.
Exactly. And of course, no investment is a sure thing, but gold has consistently demonstrated its resilience during times of inflation. It just provides that sense of stability that can be so comforting, especially when you compare it to, like, the roller coaster of the stock market.
It's like that solid backup plan, you know? Even if the dollar loses value, your gold is still there.
That's a great way to put it. And that's not all. When the market takes a dip, gold often moves in the opposite direction, holding its value or even increasing. This negative correlation is what makes it such a powerful tool for diversifying your portfolio.
So it's like a counterbalance, kind of smoothing out those ups and downs of your investments. And speaking of diversification, we've got to talk about how a gold IRA can help you build a lasting legacy for your family.
Oh, absolutely. That's something we are incredibly passionate about. It's about more than just protecting your own wealth. It's about securing that financial future for generations to come.
So how does a gold IRA fit into that bigger picture?
So gold, as a physical asset, can be passed down through your family. It's a tangible piece of wealth that can help ensure their financial security long after you're gone. Think of it as a cornerstone of your estate planning strategy, helping to create a legacy of financial stability for your loved ones.
That's powerful. And to really understand how this works in the real world, let's talk about John and Linda and James, who you mentioned earlier. It sounds like they had a lot of similar concerns as our listeners.
They do. So John and Linda are a retired couple, and they were worried about rising costs and, those market fluctuations. They wanted to make sure their family would be financially secure no matter what the future holds. So they decided to allocate a portion of their savings into a gold IRA because they just felt confident that, gold would hold its value better than other assets.
It sounds like they were looking for that peace of mind that gold can offer.
They were, and they found it. Their gold IRA has helped them protect their wealth and feel more confident about their family's future.
That's great. What about James? How did a gold IRA help him?
So James is a retiree who was, becoming increasingly nervous about having most of his retirement savings tied up in stocks. He felt like he was putting all his eggs in one basket.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. So James decided to open a gold IRA to add some diversity to his portfolio, and it paid off. When the market experienced some turbulence, his gold holdings actually helped offset any losses in his other investments. He was able to ride out the storm, feeling much more secure, knowing a portion of his savings was in a tangible asset that wasn't as affected by those market swings.
A great example of how powerful that diversification can be.
Absolutely. It underscores the importance of having a well-rounded plan for your retirement savings. But, it's also important to be aware of some of the misconceptions and potential scams that are associated with gold IRAs.
Yeah, let's address those head on. What are some things people should watch out for?
So, one common misconception is that gold IRAs are overly complicated or too expensive. Now, while there are fees involved, they're often outweighed by the long-term benefits, especially when you consider the peace of mind and the potential growth you can experience.
So looking at the big picture, not getting hung up on the small details.
Exactly. And don't forget, working with a trustworthy gold IRA provider can make the entire process much, much easier.
And that's where our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive can really come in handy. But unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there who try to take advantage of people interested in gold IRAs. What are some red flags people should watch out for?
You always want to be wary of companies that use really high-pressure sales tactics or make promises that just sound too good to be true.
So being cautious and doing your research before committing to any provider.
Exactly. If something feels off or raises any red flags, trust your instincts and just don't be afraid to walk away.
Okay, those are some great tips for avoiding scams. We've covered a lot of ground so far. Understanding the basics of gold IRAs to those benefits, the potential pitfalls.
We've really explored how gold IRAs can help protect against inflation, market volatility, provide tax advantages, even secure a lasting legacy for your family.
It's been a fascinating journey so far. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's dig a little deeper into choosing the right gold IRA provider.
Sounds great. That's a critical step in ensuring your success with a gold IRA.
Absolutely. What are the key things to look for when making that decision?
First and foremost, reputation. You want a company with a proven track record of satisfied customers, positive reviews from trusted sources.
So do your homework.
Absolutely. It's also crucial to compare fees across different providers and make sure they're transparent about all the costs that are involved. You don't want any hidden surprises down the road.
That makes sense. Anything else?
Customer service is another key factor. Look for a provider with a knowledgeable and responsive team who can answer your questions and really guide you through the process.
It's about feeling supported. Having someone you can trust to walk you through every step of the way.
Exactly. And finally, you want to make sure that the provider offers really secure storage solutions for your gold in IRS-approved depositories.
Security is paramount. So these are all crucial aspects to consider when choosing a provider.
They are. And remember, our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive covers all these factors in detail. It's really designed to help you make informed decisions. Choose a company that truly aligns with your needs.
So before we move on to the next part of our deep dives, I definitely encourage you to grab that checklist, start exploring your options. We'll be back soon to kind of delve even deeper into this world of gold IRAs, how they can help you protect your family's wealth for hopefully generations to come.
Welcome back to the show. So before the break, we were talking about all those factors that go into choosing the right gold IRA provider. It's really about finding a partner, right? You want to feel confident and informed every step of the way.
Absolutely. A reputable provider goes above and beyond just the transactions. They're going to invest in YU by giving you access to top-notch educational resources, right? Think articles, guides, webinars, even one-on-one consultations. Yeah, it's not just about opening an account. It's like finding someone who's really going to walk you through it and empower you to understand this whole asset class.
Exactly. It's like having a knowledgeable guide by your side,
Yeah,
walking you through the ins and outs of gold IRAs and making sure you're making the most informed decisions.
I like that. It makes the process feel a lot less daunting, for sure. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the actual gold. Is it just gold bars, or are there other options when it comes to a gold IRA?
That's a great question, and it's something that often causes a little bit of confusion. The IRS actually has specific rules about what types of gold qualify for a gold IRA.
So it's not just any gold.
Not just any gold, yeah. It has to meet certain purity standards, which are sometimes called fineness requirements. So it's not just about like the look and feel of the gold, but it's about the actual composition. So for example, gold bars need to be at least 99.5% pure to be eligible for a gold IRA.
Wow, there's a science to it. I had no idea.
There is. But don't worry. Reputable dealers and custodians are going to make sure that you're getting the right kind of gold. It's also worth noting that it's not just limited to bars. You can also hold certain gold coins in your gold IRA, as long as, again, they meet the IRS's kind of purity and quality standards.
So you've got options. Good to
There's
know. Now, what about other precious metals like silver, platinum, palladium? Are those allowed in a gold IRA as well?
Yes, absolutely. And the rules are a little bit different for each metal, but the same general principle applies. They have to meet specific purity requirements. So if you are interested in diversifying even further within your gold IRA, you can explore options like silver coins or platinum bars, for instance.
Really interesting. So you can kind of tailor it to what you're looking for, what your goals are, how much risk you're comfortable with.
Exactly. And that's where working with, again, a knowledgeable provider can be so helpful because they can help you navigate all those options.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Actually buying and selling the gold within a gold IRA. How does that process work?
It's actually surprisingly straightforward, more so than a lot of people realize. Once you have your gold IRA account set up with a custodian, you can simply instruct them to purchase the gold on your behalf. They're going to handle all the details like finding reputable sources, negotiating prices, making sure everything aligns with IRS guidelines.
So you don't have to go out and like find a gold dealer yourself or anything?
No, no, your custodian is really your trusted intermediary throughout this whole process.
Okay, that takes a lot of the guesswork out. What about when you want to sell, like if it's time to sell some or all of your gold holdings? Is that equally simple?
It is, yeah. When you're ready to sell, you just let your custodian know and they handle the sale for you. The proceeds then go directly back into your gold IRA account. It's really designed to make the process as easy as possible.
That sounds pretty painless. What happens if you need to take a distribution from your gold IRA, like during retirement?
It works just like with a traditional IRA. You can start taking distributions once you reach age 59 and a half, and those distributions are taxed according to the type of gold IRA you have. So, traditional or Roth.
Same rules and regulations apply. Okay. Now, you've mentioned custodians quite a bit. Can you just dive a little deeper into what they actually do and why they're so crucial to this process?
Absolutely. A gold IRA custodian is that specialized financial institution that actually manages and administers your gold IRA, and they're responsible for a whole host of really crucial tasks.
They're kind of the backbone of this whole operation.
Yeah, you could say that. So they ensure that, your investments are held securely in those IRS-approved depositories that we talked about. They handle all the necessary paperwork, the reporting, and they make sure that all your transactions are complying with IRS regulations.
Okay, so choosing a reputable custodian is super, super important.
It's a critical decision. Think of them as your partner in this journey. So you want to go with a company with a proven track record, excellent customer service, a real commitment to transparency and education.
Now let's circle back to some of those misconceptions and scams that we talked about earlier. What are some things that should maybe make me hit the brakes? Like, what are the things that scream, not a good idea?
Great question. So, high pressure sales tactics are a huge red flag. If a company is using, scare tactics, trying to push you to make a quick decision without giving you time to really think things through, that's a major warning sign.
So if they're saying, like, this offer is only good for 24 hours, that's a bad sign.
Exactly. Legitimate companies understand that this is a big decision and will give you the time and space that you need to make the right choice for your situation. Another red flag is unrealistic promises of returns. As with any investment, there are no guarantees, and anyone promising, sky-high returns is likely not being entirely truthful.
So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Absolutely. Another thing to watch out for is a lack of transparency in their fees. Make sure you understand all the costs that are involved. Upfront fees, storage fees, any other kind of administrative expenses. A good provider will be very clear and upfront about their pricing structure.
Okay, so no hidden costs, no surprises down the line.
Exactly. And finally, always check for reviews and complaints. Do your research, see what other investors are saying about their experience with the company.
Those review sites can be really valuable.
They can be. And again, if something just feels off or you get a bad gut feeling, don't be afraid to ask questions or even seek a second opinion. It's your money, it's your future. You deserve to feel confident and comfortable with the decisions that you're making.
That's so important. Now let's answer a couple frequently asked questions.
Hmm.
One we get a lot is about that minimum investment. Is there a set amount that you need to get started?
It can vary depending on the provider, but generally the minimum is somewhere between like $5,000 and $10,000.
Okay, so not necessarily out of reach for a lot of folks.
Not at all. And remember, you don't have to invest the entire amount all at once. You can start smaller and gradually add to your gold IRA over time.
That's good to know. Makes it feel much more accessible. Another question that comes up a lot is about storage. Can you just keep your gold IRA gold, like at home?
No, unfortunately not. The IRS requires gold IRA assets to be stored in an IRS-approved depository. These are specialized facilities designed for the secure storage of precious metals. They have all these stringent security measures, insurance coverage, regular audits, just to ensure the safety and integrity of your investment.
So it's not like I can keep a few gold bars in my safe deposit box.
I'm afraid not. But
Uh,
honestly, that's probably a good thing because those depositories just offer a level of security and peace of mind that you just wouldn't have storing it at home.
yeah, security and peace of mind are definitely at the top of the list. Now, what about transferring an existing IRA into a gold IRA? Is that possible?
Yes, you can absolutely do that. You can roll over funds from a traditional IRA or a 401k into a gold IRA without having to worry about any tax penalties. And it's a fairly straightforward process, especially with the help of a knowledgeable custodian.
Okay, so if you've got an existing IRA that you want to, diversify, you can seamlessly move those funds into gold.
Exactly. It's a really great way to gain exposure to gold and potentially enhance your overall retirement strategy.
Now let's talk penalties for a sec. Are there penalties for taking your gold out of a gold IRA early before retirement age?
Yes, just like with any other type of IRA, early withdrawals from a gold IRA before age 59 and a half are subject to penalties. So it's important to really view this as a long-term investment, a key piece of your overall retirement plan.
It's about setting yourself up for a secure and comfortable retirement.
Exactly. It's about having that peace of mind, knowing that you've taken steps to protect your savings and your future.
And speaking of taking steps, we have that great resource, right, to help you along the way.
Yes. Our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's full of really helpful information, especially if you're trying to choose the right gold IRA company and make informed decisions about your financial future.
It's a must-have for anyone who's even thinking about adding a gold IRA to their portfolio.
Absolutely. And with that, let's kind of shift our focus to the global landscape and how world events actually might factor into your decision to invest in a gold IRA.
Interesting, yeah. I'm curious about that. How can what's happening globally impact those gold prices and ultimately my investments?
Yeah, it's a really critical piece of the puzzle. Things that are happening around the world, geopolitical events, economic trends, even natural disasters can all influence the demand for gold and, as a result, its price.
So it's not just about what's happening in the US, it's about that bigger picture.
Yeah, gold is a global asset, and its price is affected by this whole web of interconnected factors.
Can you give me some specific examples of how global events impact those prices?
Sure, so let's start with the geopolitical instability. Think about things like political unrest, military conflicts, trade wars. When there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, investors tend to flock to gold as a safe haven.
Kind of that flight to safety that we hear about.
Exactly. It's that age-old instinct to protect your wealth during those really turbulent times. And because gold has such a long history of holding its value, even during periods of crisis, it becomes incredibly attractive.
So when the world feels a bit chaotic, gold shines even brighter. What about economic factors? How do those play into the picture?
So things like inflation, currency fluctuations, interest rates can all have an impact. For example, if a country's currency starts weakening, investors might turn to gold as a more stable store of value.
Okay, so not just inflation here in the US, but like what's happening with currencies all over the world?
Precisely. And when interest rates are low, gold becomes an even more attractive investment.
That's interesting. I've never really thought about it like that. What about natural disasters? How can those events affect gold prices?
Well, natural disasters can disrupt supply chains, create economic uncertainty, which again often leads to an increased demand for gold.
It's all about that balance, isn't it? Supply and demand.
That's right. And as an investor, it's important to stay informed about these global trends and how they might impact your gold IRA holdings.
But how do I keep track of all that? It seems like a lot.
Well, that's where working with a knowledgeable and experienced gold IRA provider can really pay off. Reputable providers have teams of experts constantly monitoring the global markets, economic trends, even those geopolitical events. They can really provide those insights, helping you make sense of all the noise.
So it's not just about the buying and selling of gold, it's about having access to that expertise.
Exactly. A good provider is going to be your partner, right? Walking you through the complexities of the gold market and helping you make decisions that align with your goals.
So important. Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I just want to reiterate how important choosing a reputable gold IRA provider is. It's not a decision to take lightly.
Absolutely not. Your choice of provider can make or break your experience. You're not just buying a product, you're entering into a long-term partnership. So you want a company with that solid track record, transparency, exceptional customer service, a genuine commitment to educating their clients.
And our free checklist, of course, at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive can help you navigate that selection process.
It's a great tool, packed with all sorts of information and insights to help you make the most informed decision for your needs. So make sure to grab that checklist before joining us for the final part of our deep dive. We'll be exploring some more advanced strategies to really maximize your gold IRA investments, secure your family's financial future.
Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast. We've learned a lot today, haven't we? Like going from the basics of gold IRAs all the way to like global stuff and how that can shape the price of gold and how to find a trustworthy provider.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. And now, in this final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore some, I guess you could call them advanced strategies, but really it's just about making the most of your gold IRA investments and making sure you and your family are set up for a really secure financial future.
I like it. Lay it on me. What are some of those key things that we should be thinking about?
So one strategy that, really savvy investors often use is dollar cost averaging. Now, you might have heard of this in the context of investing in, say, stocks, but it's equally applicable to gold IRAs.
Yeah, dollar cost averaging. I've heard that with stocks.
Yeah.
How does it work with a gold IRA?
Well, the basic idea is the same. Instead of investing like a big lump sum all at once, you spread out your investments over time. So you're purchasing a set dollar amount of gold at regular intervals.
So instead of investing, say, $10,000 all at once in gold, I might do $1,000 a month for 10 months.
Exactly. And what this does is it helps reduce the risk of buying at a market peak.
Because you're averaging out the price over time.
Precisely. Some months you'll buy when the price is higher, some months it'll be lower. And so this helps you smooth out your average cost per ounce.
I see. Smart way to kind of manage that volatility.
It is. Dollar-cost averaging kind of takes the emotion out of investing and helps you stay disciplined. Now let's talk about rebalancing for a second. We've talked a lot about gold as a way to diversify your portfolio, but how do you make sure your gold IRA holdings stay aligned with, your overall investment strategy?
Yeah, things change, right? Life changes, my goals change, so how do we keep up with that?
Yeah, that's where rebalancing comes in. It's about periodically, adjusting your portfolio to maintain your desired asset allocation. Let's say your initial goal was to have 10% of your portfolio in gold, and that percentage has grown to, say, 15%,
Yeah.
because gold has performed really well. Well, you might consider selling some gold and buying other assets to bring that allocation back down to 10%.
Okay, so it's like checking in every so often and just making sure that, my investments are still aligned with my risk tolerance and my goals.
Exactly. Rebalancing helps you stay on track and maintain that right level of risk and return that you're comfortable with. The frequency really depends. It's up to you. Depends on your preferences and obviously market conditions, but it's a good thing to discuss with your financial advisor.
Okay, yeah, I'll add that to my list of questions for my advisor.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned earlier, like rolling over other retirement accounts into a gold IRA.
Mm.
How does that work, and
Yeah.
why would somebody want to do that?
Right. So let's say you have a traditional IRA or a 401k that's heavily invested in, traditional assets like stocks and bonds. But maybe you're getting a little bit more risk averse as you approach retirement and you're thinking, hey, I want to diversify into precious metals. You can actually roll those funds over into a gold IRA without facing any tax penalties.
So I can move some of my retirement savings into gold without any tax hit.
Exactly. It's a really great way to diversify and take advantage of, all those unique benefits that gold offers, especially as a hedge against things like inflation and market volatility.
It's all starting to really make sense. All these pieces fit together.
And it's important to note that rolling over funds from a traditional IRA or a 401k into a gold IRA is actually considered a tax-free event. So you won't owe any taxes at the time of the rollover. But of course, you'll still pay taxes on distributions from your gold IRA during retirement, just like with any traditional IRA.
So not about avoiding taxes, but I guess being smart about it.
Exactly. Now, what about estate planning? We talked earlier about gold being a valuable asset to pass down to future generations. But are there specific strategies for incorporating a gold IRA into an estate plan?
Yeah, how does that all work?
Well, one of the most important steps is to very clearly designate beneficiaries for your gold IRA. And what this does is it ensures a really smooth and efficient transfer of your assets to your loved ones after, you're gone.
So I would name my spouse, my children, or other beneficiaries, just like I would with any other retirement account.
Precisely. And it's super important to, review and update those beneficiary designations periodically because things change, life circumstances change.
Good advice for any account, really,
Yeah.
not just a gold IRA. What about taxes for my beneficiaries, though? Like, is inheriting a gold IRA treated differently from inheriting other assets?
That's a great question. And the tax implications for your beneficiaries will depend on whether you have a traditional or a Roth Gold IRA.
Okay, so what happens with a traditional gold IRA?
So with a traditional gold IRA, your beneficiaries will be required to pay income taxes on the distributions they receive from the inherited IRA. This is because those original contributions were tax deductible, so those withdrawals are considered taxable income.
And what about a Roth?
Now, if you have a Roth Gold IRA, distributions to your beneficiaries are generally tax-free, assuming, certain conditions are met. This is because you already paid taxes on your contributions.
Ah, so that's a pretty big advantage for them.
It is. And it really highlights, the importance of considering which type of gold IRA is right for you.
Not just for me, but for the people I care about.
Exactly. That's why working with a knowledgeable financial advisor is so crucial because they can help you create that comprehensive estate plan. Make sure everything is structured properly.
Having those experts in your corner makes all the difference.
It does. And don't forget, we're here to help too. Our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive is full of great info to help you choose the right company and just navigate this world with confidence.
It's been amazing. I've learned so much today about gold IRAs.
We hope you feel more confident and equipped to make those decisions about your future.
Knowledge is power. Do your research, choose your partners wisely.
Absolutely. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast.